Once, on the very edge of the Whispering Woods, lived a little girl named Lyra. Lyra had a heart as kind as a summer's day, but she was also terribly shy. When she played all by herself, the most beautiful melodies would drift from her lips, soft and sweet. But the moment anyone else came near, her voice would vanish like smoke in the wind. One breezy afternoon, Lyra was sitting beneath the biggest, oldest oak tree in the woods, softly humming a little tune about the fluffy white clouds sailing across the sky. Suddenly, a flutter of dazzling color caught her eye. It was a moth, but a moth unlike any she had ever seen. This tiny creature, a color moth, wasn't dull or brown. Oh, no. Its wings shimmered with every color of the rainbow: ruby red, sapphire blue, emerald green, and a yellow as bright as the sun itself. The color moth danced on the air and then fluttered down, landing right on Lyra's knee as gently as a falling leaf. "Oh, hello," Lyra whispered, her voice barely a breath, afraid to scare the beautiful creature away. But the moth didn't fly off. Instead, it began to sing. But it didn't sing with a voice like Lyra's. It sang with its wings. With every little flap, it scattered glittering specks of light that chimed like tiny, magical bells. Tingling, ping, the light and sound danced all around Lyra, wrapping her in a sparkling symphony. "You're a music moth!" Lyra gasped in wonder. Without even thinking, she started to hum a new tune, a melody to match the glittering chime of the moth's wings. The moth seemed to love Lyra's melody. It began to flutter faster and faster, creating a shower of bright, joyful sounds. They played their duet together, the girl's hum and the moth's chime, until the sun began to dip below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. As dusk settled, the color moth flew away, disappearing into the deep woods. The very next day, Lyra waited by the old oak tree, her heart filled with hope, and soon enough, her little friend returned. They began to play their song again. But this time, something was different. The moth's wings were a bit dull, the brilliant colors weren't as bright, and the chimes sounded faint and weak, like a whisper instead of a song. "What's wrong?" Lyra asked, her brow furrowed with worry. The moth could only manage a sad, quiet ping in reply. Lyra looked closely at the moth's wings, and a wave of understanding washed over her. The moth's magic kit's vibrant color and its beautiful music came from sharing joy. The moth had been sharing its chimes with only Lyra, and that just wasn't enough to keep its whole rainbow shining. Lyra thought for a long moment. She knew she had to help her new friend. "I know," she said, her eyes lighting up. "We will share our music with everyone." Lyra took a deep breath. She could feel her shyness tugging at her, trying to pull her voice back into silence. But she looked at the dull, sad little moth and pushed her shyness away with all her might. She stood up tall, straightened her shoulders, and sang her cloud melody. This time, she didn't just hum, she sang, her voice rising louder and clearer than she had ever sung before. The color moth, thrilled by the strong, beautiful voice, flapped its wings with newfound energy. Lyra sang, and the moth chimed. Their beautiful music drifted out of the woods and floated like a sweet perfume into the nearby village. Soon, children and grown-ups stopped what they were doing. They turned their heads, listening to the magical sound and followed it all the way to the edge of the Whispering Woods. As more and more people gathered, their faces lit up with smiles. And as they smiled, a wonderful thing happened. The moth's wings burst back into brilliant, dazzling color. The chimes grew loud and clear once more, scattering the air with magical, happy light that danced among the smiling faces. From that day on, Lyra sang for the whole village, and the color moth always chimed right beside her, its wings a beacon of joy. Lyra learned that her voice was a precious gift, one that grew stronger and more beautiful the more she shared it. And the color moth learned the more joy you give away, the more magical and bright your own life becomes. And that is how the little girl, who was once too shy to speak, became the most joyful singer in the entire Whispering Woods. Thank you so much for joining us for this story. If you enjoyed Lyra's journey, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more magical tailies. We'll see you next time.